All right, welcome back to another episode of the Open Mic Podcast with me, your host, Tom Hirst, brought to you by Richland Source Newsroom After Hours. Today, we have a couple of the cast members from the up-and-coming Wren show called Something Rotten. It takes place in 1595, London, England. The Bottom brothers, Nick and Nigel, are trying to find success by writing plays, but are outshined by the rock star playwright of the Renaissance, William Shakespeare. Desperate to find success, Nick gets help from a soothsayer for the next big hit when he prophesies a musical. The Bottom brothers get to work creating the first musical, complete with song and dance. All right, guys, if you want to introduce yourselves.
Yeah, sure. Hi, my name is Ryan Citrino, and I'm playing Nick Bottom in the production. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Leah Gesouras, and I play Beatrice Bottom.
Nice. So, so that's what the overarching theme of the play is. Tell me a little bit about the show and what you guys' roles are within in the confines of it.
That description was pretty great at describing it. I've a lot of times people hear like Shakespeare and they get a little bit thrown off with it. Like it's a play or like it's a musical that does have Shakespeare in it, but I hate him. And it's truly about trying to figure out what. Hearing a musical for the first time and almost trying to figure out what that means. And like we have this understanding of like musicals now and why we love them or hate them. And I think you can go into this show loving or hating musicals and still have a good time.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, you can laugh at it and be like, oh yeah, I love this thing because it is ridiculous in this way. Right. Or you could be like, yeah, they're right. They're saying the thing I'm thinking. This is like...
Yeah, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny how polarizing musicals are with certain people. I've met a lot of people that absolutely hate them and can't stand them, and I'm like, I mean, come on, like it's music and a show. Like I don't know, I don't get it, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think a lot of times with people, it's almost that glitz and glamour of just like, and now they start singing.
Yeah, right.
And now they're dancing in the background. What's going on? And like that is not only is that a valid feeling, I think for people, it is also addressed. That feeling is heard in the show and is, I would say, properly taken care of.
Yes, I was just going to say, it's the show is a really good time. It's actually a new show. That's why I think a lot of people are like, what is this? What does that mean?
Yeah.
I think it was 2015.
Yeah, 2015.
Yeah, so relatively new. It was on Broadway. Didn't win. It was nominated for like 10 Tonys. That's what counts. But it's a really good time. Like I always say, no matter what sense of humor you have, you will find something fun. Like you will laugh at something in the show. It's got a variety of humor. I often think the humor reminds me of like a whose line is it anyway type humor.
Nice.
So it's like it's fast, very responsive, and that's how Michael Thomas, our director, wants the show to feel. It feels like vaudeville. It's very fast, very witty, but you can still like catch little moments.
Okay. Interesting, man. I love Whose Line Is It Anyway.
Yeah, no. See, I'm selling it right now. It's already happening.
You got me with that one right there.
Yeah.
You already got me with that one. I remember late nights as a teenager being up watching Whose Line Is It Anyway. You know, not going to bed for school, but laughing at those.
The pacing is identical.
It really is the pacing. So that's really fun.
Yeah, that's the vibe.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. All right. So the characters is Nick and Nigel are the brothers, right?
Yes.
Like what just kind of down on your luck type of guys, or like, I mean, just like throwing everything at the wall and nothing sticking type concept? Or?
Yeah, well, it's one of those things where Nick and Nigel, they've always had kind of the underdog story. It's been rags to rags, I guess. They've been really trying to find that thing that sticks, and then it all of a sudden, while you're trying to have something work, Shakespeare was a fellow. They worked alongside each other, and then Shakespeare becomes this big thing.
Oh man! Okay.
Purely because just how annoying he is like, okay, go do your stuff, and then Shakespeare becomes Shakespeare.
Yeah.
So it's this something that was so close in your reach now is just like this giant sun just like shooting onto you the entire time.
Okay. Yeah, that's frustrating.
Yeah.
That's,
yeah, it's frustrating. All right. Yeah.
Nice, classic tension. That's good. That's really good. It's supposed to be 1595 dyslexia.
Great year. Great year.
1595. Yeah, very, very solid year.
Yeah.
Man, so many classic things from that year.
Many.
That era.
I'm like trying to think back on high school and it's like all those good memories I had in the 1595s.
What's like? So the Wren obviously is. They're great at. Making sets. Is Jason still headset designer down there?
And he puts those up in like 48 hours. He's incredible.
That dude is...
He's incredible, and he's got a great team.
He's amazing. Yeah. Absolutely amazing. I used to work at Relax. I remember him coming back in all the time back in the days, and he's just such an interesting dude.
He is.
So how are they capturing that feel of the Renaissance era, if you will, at the Wren?
So our set is a lot of fun. It's very tall, like a lot of people in the show.
Yeah.
Won't name names. But it's really fun. So everything is like the space that we're able to create is really cool. We have like these two, I don't know, describe. They're basically like houses, like what you would see like in a medieval painting almost.
Okay.
And they have functioning windows on the top that you can like actually open, and like people stick their heads out. It feels
cool.
very, what do we say, like 90s sitcom-y when they're like, good morning. So a fully
Speaking
functioning.
my language.
I just keep getting
after
better.
you woke up from Whose Line and then the TV was still on.
Dude,
it's just running through,
right? Oh man, killing it.
So
That's sick.
Yeah, the space is great. So again, think like two like kind of big, almost building houses-esque with two windows that are functioning, two doors that open, and then the center is like a stage. So it's almost like a stage within a stage type energy.
Meta Inception.
Yeah.
And then a smaller stage hidden underneath.
Yeah.
Everybody's got pocket stages that that they carry around with them.
Yeah.
Right.
That's our little secret that the audience never gets
that's
to see
a podcast secret. But yeah, it's pretty open for, I mean, exits and entrances are literally everywhere. And that allows us a lot of room to play, which is good.
Yeah.
Oftentimes they build the sets quite forward or downstage, so we only really have so much space to work with.
That makes sense.
And I think they're going to do like probably some sort of backdrop too. I know like a projector comes down too. So we don't really have a lot of space if you think about it, but the set allows us to play and move.
Yeah.
And then I would say the other kind of element of making the Renaissance come to life are the beautiful costumes that Linda has designed. She's incredible.
Yeah.
We look amazing.
Yeah.
We look like we really stepped out of the 1590s.
Oh, that's sick.
And we're excited to show it off.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I mean, I think for me, plays in general, the fun aspect of it is almost is seeing the people within the show and the creators of it work with such space constraints, really making you feel like each scene is actually in a different set or in a different world.
And lighting helps with that too. That's a big thing too. Lighting can set the tone.
Yeah. That creativity within the project is, when you confine yourself to only a certain set of parameters to work with, the things that people come up with are usually pretty amazing. So that's really exciting. I look forward to seeing that. Yeah. So you guys play husband and wife, right?
Yes.
Unfortunately. It's a bummer all around.
Yeah, she keeps reminding me of it.
Yeah.
You guys sound like you're married.
Yeah. We've been growing on each other since.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know. I've always, you watch, you see movies, TV shows, people playing spouses all the time. You see the behind-the-scenes stuff. They're completely different people. Like... Pulling that off, like I've always thought it would be one of the more challenging aspects to acting. I mean, obviously there's a ton of challenging aspects to acting, but like actually having to pretend like you're in love with somebody within the confines of the show. What's that like for you guys? Like what's it like getting in that headspace? Have you guys gone out on dates to kind of like pretend in the background to,
No, that part of the acting we can do fine. Honestly, the thing for me that's interesting is because it's one thing to be like dating and have this like infatuation with someone in a show, but this is almost like we're in a marriage that's like about 10 years, I want to say. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is deep, almost daily love, where it's like,
it's not like top funnel roses, rainbows, you know?
Yeah. We're already through that honeymoon stage, and it's like, how do you just live life with, and like, I'm not married. So like that, trying to figure out that fine line of like, exactly.
Right.
So we're like, how do we pretend that we've been married for 10 years when we've known each other for less than 10 years?
Yeah, right.
And thankfully, like Leah's great to work with in the first place, but like I think we get along fine to the point of like that natural energy of just like, oh yeah, I'm just around you every day for rehearsal. That's what life would be at this point anyway.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. Ryan's amazing to work with, and you want me to keep going? You want me to? I'll
tell me more about me.
No, I mean it really is easy to work with him. I mean, like, you have to trust your partner, all of your castmates. You have to be able to just trust and know. And like, we've talked and be like, hey, I'm going to try this, or I'm going to do this. So there's a lot of, as long as you're communicating and like not really throwing each other off, it's very easy. And I think we do a really good job, and it's fun, you know, like I'm enjoying it. And I it is interesting that we're talking about this, because the other kind of two leads in our show, his brother Luke, who plays Nigel, and Sam, who plays Portia, are the star-crossy lovers, top funnel, sunshine and rainbow. So I think it's actually kind of fun to see our relationship on stage versus theirs. So you kind of get a little, it's very. I think both are very charming, and it's very. It's fun and sweet, and I think it's real. And I think we do a really good job. Yeah.
So communication, right?
Communication is key. Hey, listeners at home, communications are very important.
If you want a long-lasting marriage that you just fell into for an acting gig, and
if you want a believable, long-lasting marriage,
communication is key.
And we're professionals. We have a good time. It's acting. Like we know what we're doing, but we're really good friends, and we make it work.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Especially the scenes that we have. For me, it's more fun. Like star-crossed lover stuff is great and all, but also having the relationship that we have in this show definitely gets to have. There's much more playfulness that happens because we're not worried about like the love of this relationship. Like that's already well rooted.
It's already taken care of. Yeah.
Leah can just be funny, and I can just like be in the scene and in the moment with her being funny.
Yeah.
That what is it, like, you know, like you said, the honeymoon phase is over, so now most couples, I feel like, are working on continuing to like each other over that span of time. So you get to have that playfulness of, you're annoying the crap out of me, but I love you. But
that's exactly it.
That's awesome.
That's the vibe.
Yeah, that's cool. That's real cool. Acting in general, what are your guys' approaches to acting? To when you get a character that you're going to portray, you get the script, all that stuff. What are your guys' initial steps? I've watched a lot of interviews with famous actors and stuff like that, but you know, on a personal level, like where do you guys then take it from there? What's your initial startups?
Sure. I mean, first off, read it.
Yeah.
And not just specifically looking at you. Like, this seems like a very dumb thing to say, but like understanding what the entire piece is trying to say, like regardless of whether it's a musical, a play, whatever it is, knowing what it's trying to say and what themes it's trying to get across will help you understand what your character is there for. So like, and knowing that story and kind of having that living in your brain at all times, that way you can approach your character and be like, all right, in this case, I'm a desperate, I'm the down on my luck sort of thing, as we were talking about earlier. Like, I will do anything, and I have a lot of reasons for why I will do anything. Like down on money, and we're trying to support my partner, like all those things. Okay, there's this desperation, and like using that and trying to see that general feeling, how that applies throughout the rest of the story, I think is like a good starting place for a process.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because then everything feels believable.
Yeah. It's like taking a painting or something and removing an aspect of it and seeing, well, how does this actually fit into the already created picture and form fitting towards that. Yeah.
And because especially like once you have that lens, when you're seeing it through the lens of someone that is, and this wasn't exactly how I went through it, but let's say that desperation was the main thing I was viewing.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, how does this line make sense, or how does this scene make sense from the perspective of someone who is desperate? The way you might say things or the way you might like move on stage depends on how you're feeling in the scene before and the scene after. Like,
that's cool. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, for me, truthfully, for this show in particular, it was very easy. It happened to be. This is a very Leah coded role, which I'm very grateful for. But it's challenging in a way that, I'm always in favor of go big or go home. The worst they can tell you is no or pull back. Michael always says, I'd rather you go in and I'll pull you back if it's too much. So my approach has always just been kind of throw spaghetti at the fridge, see what sticks.
Right.
And again, I have great acting partners and castmates who are like totally on board to just like let me play. But I agree, read the material, know what you're doing.
Right.
Find inspiration from those who have already done it. Let that be an inspiration. Obviously, you don't need to copy and paste it.
For sure.
But, take what's already been laid on the groundwork, like trust that the playwright knew what they wanted to do and have faith that you can bring that to life.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Getting myself in the headspace of being another person has always been very intriguing to me. And that's
and sometimes it's easier than others. Like, I feel like for the most part, you were saying it's a very Leah coded role. Like, these are kind of like more natural characters to how we kind of operate in life.
Yeah, I would say so.
That becomes a little bit easier where you're like, okay, I know how this person is like me and it's already there. But even for characters that are outside of you, it's kind of that thing of like, okay, how do I act in my day-to-day? How do I relate to this person? And
what mannerisms are similar? What is something? And again, it's a different time period too. But like, I think it's just easier to sort of bleed into it. But there is a sense of having a persona turning on. You know, that just kind of going back to what you were saying. It is like light bulb kind of goes on from like 6 to 10 for us. And then and then it's like boom, power down.
Right. Do you guys often find by playing multiple roles over time that you kind of take on a lot of the characteristics of those characters at times, and you have to put them down like
in real life,
consciously in real life and in and out, like, as you know, because I've always thought, like, you immerse yourselves in these characters so much in their personas, like you said, trying to think about like you said, desperation, right? Trying to think of what does my desperation look in at each one of these scenes, how they interact with people over time, and then maybe the next character is like some kind of contrasting emotion. Do those things kind of stick with you? Do you take that with you in real life, or have you figured out a good way of completely separating that once the show is over? Because I've always thought that would be a difficult thing, or maybe even something completely unconscious that that you don't realize is happening. Yeah,
that's really interesting. I think for me that I am pretty good about making peace. Like on the last show, we did The Music Man last summer, and I was Marion Peru. It was like my first big moment, whatever. And I really did relate to this character. And I remember I'm like, I'm going to be so sad when this ends. Oh, this was, it went by so fast. And I wasn't. And I really had a peaceful moment. I was like, I did my job. It was amazing. I really lived in the moments. That sounds corny, but really live in the moment. And then it was over. And I felt really good about it. And I have personally been able to close the box on my character and just move on.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
For me, it leans a little bit. Now I'm going to throw any kind of Shakespearean thing out of this, because the thing I'm about to say will not make sense with that context. But with a lot of stuff I've done recently, I've noticed sort of subconsciously. how I say certain phrases, like some talking mannerisms in terms of delivery in just regular conversation.
Yeah.
Some of that delivery from shows will sometimes bleed over where I'm like, I'm talking like a lot about, and like in this case, it'll just be like slow something down with a point and like something like it's minor things like that. The words will change, but I'm like, oh, I'm saying that like I was.
It happens like subconsciously.
It's like I'm in act 2. I'm like, what's happening right now?
Yeah.
That happened more in just life because I was doing one role where it was just like a lot of natural conversation, then it's talking about something absolutely insane, but you're still kind of like, I'm fully normal about this conversation. Like I'm talking about the wind, and I'm like, that's wind of fortune over there because it's firm and steady, helpful even. Show off. And like that sort of energy of just like, I'm going to say something completely insane, but we're just normal and having a normal conversation. Like that has now started to enter my life a lot more.
Yeah, man. It's, dude, acting is wild. It really is.
It really is.
It's just the entire concept has always been fascinating to me in that sense. But I really resonate with that. I feel like closing the box on a role, on a performance that makes a lot of sense. Because if like you were saying, you try and go big or go home, throw everything into it that you can, and if you truly actually give something your all, at the end of the day, you can rest knowing that you gave it your all. And so I feel like it makes a lot more sense that it's easier to put that down and move on from there.
I'm like, I feel very like, not a weightlifter, but like, okay, I did it. Like I did everything I came to do. Like I left it all out on the stage, So and again, I mean, do I miss that show? Yeah, sure, of course. But like, I'm not like, oh, what a bummer, because I know like the next great thing's gonna come around the corner. So
yeah, absolutely. But man, being a different character, I can't imagine it's not hard for that to bleed over into your own personal lives.
Yeah, it depends how close it is to you. I think like there are definitely some moments where it's just like, I'm gonna be crazy, and it's like I don't need to be crazy and normal, like just like
for sure.
Wired up the whole time. That wasn't great for an audio medium, but
if you were watching on the video that is currently not live streaming, but he was shaking and being manic.
Yeah, it was. I made such a goofy face. Oh my gosh!
It was great.
If you saw how goofy a face it was,
you wouldn't believe how goofy it was. Everybody said it was the goofiest.
Everybody agrees.
But man, that's cool. So the entire story, like, kind of what do you really love about the themes of it the most so far? Like anything that really sticks out to you? I mean, I know, like you said, Leah, that this is a very much your role for you yes. as a person.
It's just fun. It just feels right.
Yeah.
We keep saying it's a musical comedy, but I always appreciate, because comedy is my thing. I consider myself a character actor, a comedic actor.
Okay.
But there are moments of so much heart in the show. Mm-hmm. They're not like every other. This is not a drama, okay? Yeah. But there are just so many wonderful little moments that are so touching and so charming. And I think our cast does a really great job of capturing those moments. And Michael Thomas, our director, reminds us that, yes, there are moments where we can breathe into those scenes, small as they may be. That's what I really love to be able to do, because it expands my range as an actor, and it just allows for like a little bit of change of pace, and it lets the audience really relate.
Yeah, and that change of pace is, especially with comedy, that's needed.
Yeah.
If you're getting bashed over the head with comedy and like, here's another funny joke, then it becomes nothing to you. So like actually having a moment of like actually people just embracing each other, having like true emotion and like caring about things, to then immediately go into something that might be more farcical, immediately 10 times funnier than if you just kept being funny.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. It's you got to break up the monotony in some way, even if you're laughing, Yeah.
The music's also very catchy, I must say. It's really good. We talk a lot about eggs. No spoilers.
Okay.
Eggs. Let that sink in.
Yeah. I was going to be like, how much context should we... None.
That's it. I'm leaving you with that.
It's
eggs. I love eggs, so,
I know. It's
I got great news for you. You're going to love this show.
Man.
It's the music's fun. Yeah, to be clear with the music, yes, there is a little hints of the 1500s in there, but it is not a. It functions almost closer to if it's not being very musical, it's almost functioning more as a rock score, I would argue.
Yeah, that's what I was like, you would know that.
Yeah, it's
interesting.
It's very much, a lot of it is guitar driven at times.
Really?
Depending, it jumps around. It kind of covers a lot of different styles in it, but like, it feels modern, and like, and it's okay that it feels modern. It gives you the moment to breathe.
Yeah, that's something I didn't actually think about when approaching a musical, is like, what's the appropriate music style, especially for something that's set so long ago, like, how do you keep audience engaged while...
And it's a choice that is made, I mean, in the creative process, when like literally the show's being written. It's like, how do we want this tone to be set? And in this case, this show is, yes, the Renaissance is old for us, but the Renaissance was about invention. It was about creating. Rebirth. It was about new. It was like new things coming out. Yeah. So they kind of took that and moved it into the music. And it's like, okay, what would be new? What not new within their 5 years? What would be the newest thing to them? It's like, let's have some electric guitar driving this. Like, let's have these like different, like, one of the songs feels like it's a Queen number. Okay. Like literally straight up Queen, between the harmonies and like everything about it. I love Queen. George kills it.
He's amazing.
Our Shakespeare has very much a Queen-like number with full backup vocals. It's a
moment.
It is a moment.
That's
George
awesome. That's so awesome.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's like, and there are more moments that feel like traditional musical and stuff like that. Yeah. There are moments that feel like it's almost straight out of the Renaissance. But like, if you know what tone it is, it kind of helps you drive with the music, like how we approach performing it as well. Yeah, because it's not like we can weirdly enough, we can't sound the same the entire time. Right. Like, I have to jump between being a normal singer, maybe embracing a little bit more of the edge, or being like very like, we're doing a big old musical.
That's exactly true.
So literally, I've had to like break down, like, okay, wait, what are we doing? Like, what is this song? Am I trying to be almost slapsticky in this? What's happening? Right. And like, the music defines that a lot of times.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, nice. Like you're saying with the drama versus comedy aspect of breaking it up, it sounds like they really break up the monotony musically with that as well, by having so many of those varied musical themes within the same context of the show.
I feel like this is not a show that like, there's this like dragging mode. Like, I think the pacing is actually pretty solid.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it better be if it's whose line is it anyways.
I think, and again, homaged. Our director kept saying, this is vaudeville. This is vaudeville. And I think that clicked. He said that more recently to us, and we've been running the show, and I think that sort of helped us get it up on our feet and keep the pacing really quick.
Yeah. Know when the funny needs to be fast, and then keep on moving.
Yes.
And then if you've earned that moment to take your time, then
take your time.
Take your time. Yeah. But also, we need to get out. I need to walk the dog. Like, come on, let's.
Yeah, we're there some long nights.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, what exactly, work-wise, time-wise, what goes into a production like this? So many people probably have no concept of what that even looks like for you guys on a regular basis.
A lot is an understatement.
Yeah. And it changes too. There's not like a set way to do it. In our case, it's a lot of 5 out of the 7 we're working about minimum 4 hours,
I would say,
a day. And then as you get closer to the production, of course, like then
it's go time.
Longer hours. That's when like tech elements are really being added in. A lot more of the lighting, that stuff, costumes. The more you start adding things in, definitely the time gets added on. But it's for us, when do we start? End of January?
Yeah, January 30th. I mean, we did 1 week of just music, and then we're like, all right, we're going to dance. We did 1 week of just dance, and then we started blocking. And I mean, it's a short month in general. I mean, we're almost in March. Right. So we really hit the ground running.
you guys.
It's okay. You can be in the show.
Hey,
we'll find a cameo.
Absolutely, I'd love to. Just let me walk the background at least, like through once. Yeah,
that's all we need.
That's all we need.
Yeah. Oh man, I love it. So do you guys find that like getting into character? I know we talked about this, but going back to that, getting into character and what elements of the staging and the lighting and that type of stuff really start pulling you into it more? Is it? I almost feel like, I don't know, it may be obvious, but for me, I almost feel like it's got to be a lot harder to, like, in the beginning, really start getting into that mindset with the super stripped down ways that you guys practice it. Obviously, the staging isn't there, the lighting isn't right yet. Is there kind of a moment? I know you guys have been doing this for a while. I'm assuming I was going to ask you about how long you guys have done this later, but is there a point in time now that you guys have been doing it that like it kind of all just like clicks and you're fully immersed after like the lighting, or are you guys able to really start doing that early on with the play?
Yeah, I mean, definitely that when you first start getting into tech and like you're starting to run with lighting does help, because it especially once you can't see the audience to some degree.
Yeah.
Like, that makes sense.
It's kind of like
a lot of sense.
Black Sea.
Like right now, it's not like we have anyone in the audience right now either.
Right.
So, but it's having that like, it is on, like you are performing. That definitely feels big, but like, I mean, part of the job, it should help you transition easier into acting as opposed to now you're on. Yeah, that's always kind of the hard thing, is like make sure you have all your choices and you know how you feel, so that way it's sweetening your performance and making it easier to delve in.
That's a good way of putting it.
For me, kind of like is when we finally get off book. So when you're not reading, like sometimes you'll have scripts up there when you're doing scenes at first. The first time you kind of get off book, that's when it's like, okay, I now have to use my hands at all times. What do I'm more of a musician by trade, so like that's always a thing for me. Is like, what do I do with my hands? They're not like at an angle right now, or like I have to be like actively aware of my body, and like that's where like the first big like, all right, you're definitely acting now, because you're like, you are living and breathing in the moment.
Yeah, that was very well said. I think for me, and it's more of an excitement too, is when we start running in costume, which will be very soon for us. I think there's a good anxiety that comes with it, because it's like, okay, I'm putting on my work clothes almost, if you will, in a loving way. We're all going to be very sweaty, and
honestly, I'm worried.
It's going to be great. But you know what? That's the thing. We all trust. We all know each other. We're like, it's family. We're family at this point.
Be careful when you touch me in Act 2. That's just like, we're going to have to get the wet floor sign out. It's going to
be. It's too late for me, but we'll let the others know.
Have tarps on the ground.
We've been joking that by the end of Act 1, we're going to have to like put out a wet floor sign, literally mop up, just to make sure, safety purposes.
But with that being said, I think that adds, if you come in prepared and you're at 100%, that transition will then hopefully be a little bit easier. But for me, getting the costumes, and this is an ensemble show, I would safely say. So what that means is basically the ensemble is either always on, or if they're not, they're backstage doing a 90-second quick change. So there is a lot of moving and grooving, and I think for me, once we start doing quick changes and costumes, I'm like, all right, let's get it going.
This is it. This is actually a thing. This is happening.
For me, that's when it starts really locking in. And, we're creatures of habit, right? So getting into the routine of, okay, for me, I have what I like to call a princess track. I'm not on as much, but I need to know, like, where do I need to be? What side of the stage do I need to be on? So knowing all of those, who do I need to help? That all kind of comes together.
Getting really, just getting everybody to move as one body, cohesive. Like, I'm
Keyword,
here, they're
cohesive.
here. Right.
Especially, I'm sorry to hop onto you there. Especially with this show, because we were talking with earlier, there is almost like this stylistic shift that does happen with like, everyone needs to be on the same page with it. Like if you're on stage and we're now going into this thing, we need to all make sure we have that group vocabulary, that group mindset.
And you can, this sounds weird, but you can feel if you do or if you don't.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
no,
it's
that makes
easy for,
perfect
like,
sense.
two people to do, like, because you can feed off, but, like, you can feel, like, the vibe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If one part of the body's off, the entire thing's kind of
and Michael
getting
knows.
a little wonky.
Our director knows. He will tell us.
Yeah. I mean, it's the key to having a good head, like to make sure that like Michael is the head of the production, moving and shaking everything to
and
where
he's in the production too.
Is he really?
He is.
Oh.
We got to give him some credit.
Oh man, that's
but he's doing a great job.
Yeah, there are moments where it's just like, all right, wait, I have to give a note. I'm now, because he's watching, making sure we're doing everything right. He's like, I'm on stage now.
My favorite is watching Citrino act with himself.
Yeah, I'm just staring at it. Almost all the scenes that he's in, I'm also like his only or his main partner. So I'm just staring at nothing.
It's so funny.
While lines are coming to me, like I'm staring to my right, and lines are coming deep to my left, and I'm like, I can't look over there. No, I'm looking at you.
He does a great job, though. He stays in the moment.
That's amazing.
It's very funny because it throws me off every time, and also it's a very comedic role anyway. I'm trying not to break on while we're doing this rehearsal and like laugh, but also like it's complete sound is going different places. My visuals are it's
all over.
Very confusing.
Yes, a grand old time.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, I mean, it's a lot more difficult, but I feel like that actually is very helpful towards the end product because you're so used to just being that character without any other prompting, or you're the main prompt that you're interacting with, but once he's there, hopefully wouldn't throw you off because you're so used to it. Right.
Yeah, no, I mean, for sure that focus is there, and for me especially, like that, there's a certain period of time where I'm on the stage for a while.
Yes, he
and
is.
it's like maybe I'm gone for a second, then I'm immediately back on. So like having that focus now that's make or break, because even though I might just be in a scene with someone and I'm not saying anything, but I need to be at the ready, and like I can't lose any kind of focus. Once I'm on, I have to be on.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
It's a good old time.
Yeah. You said something that I didn't really think about, the lighting kind of shielding you from a lot of the vision of the audience. Is that something that, like, because I know, so I play in bands, and something I learned at a younger age was that when I play a show, people are expecting a show, and so it helps me to get into the mindset of playing a show, because I'm slightly on the more introverted side, and so getting up in front of a lot of people a lot of times is very intimidating. But when I put myself in that mindset of people are expecting to be entertained, so be yourself more and don't be worried about it. Do you find that type of that type of a setting, when there's that many people in a crowd, is helpful for you guys, or is that a little more detrimental? Do you guys thrive a bit more individually as people in front of a crowd, like taking on that energy, or is it kind of really a helpful facade, to having the lighting there so you can't see them as well?
For me, I mean, if we're going by the Myers-Briggs, I'm right down the middle, bit of an ambivert.
I love Myers-Briggs.
Yeah,
that stuff's fascinating.
So, like, technically, I am an extrovert. I describe it as I'm an extrovert until I'm not, and then I'm very much not.
Yeah.
There's a weird thing with, like, I like knowing the audience is there, and especially with this show, you got to be careful of living and dying by the laugh, because you might, especially with a comedy, you're like, you're expecting. You're like, this line's gonna kill, and then crickets, and you're like, all right, well, let's keep on going.
Just gotta stumble through, I guess. Now,
and every audience is different too.
Right.
So some things that, and we've also said these things 1,000 times. So like you almost, without an audience laughing along, so you almost forget what is funny sometimes.
Yes.
And like, thankfully, I come from a lot of like improv comedy like background, so like I know like to not worry about what not worry about what the audience thinks, but like knowing that the performance that's happening is the performance. I don't need to worry about whether they're laughing or not. They will have a good time eventually.
Yeah.
So for me, like the lights being there doesn't really. it can help, but like you can kind of feel the energy of the room anyway, whether or not you can see half of them.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Leah?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, at the end of the day, I come from weirdly enough, I come from a very business perspective.
Okay.
And I'm like, all right, we've got some paying customers in the house tonight. They're going to get a show. And they absolutely will. Get your tickets.
Buy them now.
Them now. So I treat it as a fun job. You know, I'm here to put on a show. And again, this is going to sound kind of corny, but you know, this is my hometown, and I love being able to share my talents and my castmates' talents with our community. And at the end of the day, the Renaissance is getting money, and that's good.
Right.
You know, we're keeping the arts fueled again. I know it's very corny, very sales speak, but for me, but for me, that is in the back of my head when I hit that stage. I'm like, okay, they've paid, and they're going to get the best show they've ever seen.
That makes a lot of sense. I like that.
Yeah.
So, now, with that, let's work completely backwards.
The best way to work.
Yeah, right? Your guys' backgrounds. How long have you guys been acting? What initially got you into wanting to act and be in plays?
Yeah, I'll start. So again, this is my hometown. I grew up here. Shout out to Lori Turner. She was the one that got me involved in all this craziness in the Richland Academy. So I started when I was probably like 15, 16.
Okay.
You know, took voice lessons. I remember I saw a show and I was like, yeah, that could, you know, when you're 15, you don't care about it. You're like, I guess I'll sing, whatever. And I loved it, obviously. And I've been singing ever since. I mean, you know, Lori was an incredible voice teacher, and I'm very fortunate where I started off doing a lot of opera, and opera is kind of like the ballet of dance, I like to call it. So by being able to learn how to breathe and sing with proper technique, I was really able to do other things, not with ease, but it came a little more natural, and I was like, okay.
It lends itself to a lot of other
you're just training your
forms.
Muscles, you know? So for me, that's kind of my sort of grassroots, and then let's see, I went to BG. I went to school for musical theater, but my degree was in communications. My specialization was in musical theater. I did live in New York for about 3.5, 4 years, and I loved it. COVID happened, of course, and then here we are. But it was great. New York was I really did everything I wanted to do, which I'm very grateful for those opportunities. And again, I know this sounds really corny, but when I came home to do Mamma Mia for a minute in 2019 here at the Renaissance, I remember having a very epiphany moment. I was like, what am I doing? I could be saving money, but still doing what I love and sort of giving back to my community
without compromising your dreams and hopes.
And by that point, I had a wonderful agent and manager, and they are still to this day really good friends of mine, and I worked at the Darryl Roth Theater. I did what I wanted. I really did do what I wanted to do.
That's amazing.
And I'm still able to do I still do voiceover submissions. I can still do professional work from the comfort of my own home here in Ohio. And I don't think we should discount Columbus and Cleveland and all of the working surrounding areas that we have.
Absolutely.
So I've been back in the community, and I've been continuing to do and enjoy shows at the Renaissance.
That's amazing.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Top that, Citrino.
Mine is not topping it by the mere nature of it being just a weird back and forth ride. I mean, I started doing theater in high school. I grew up in New Jersey, and any suburban public high school, there weren't enough guys doing shows.
Classic.
The natural. Oh wow, you're a man
as old as time.
Yeah, a man who can kind of sing. Perfect. You're in. You're the lead now. It was truly one of those things where I had no idea what was going on, and I had been doing music and stuff like that, so I had the basis of singing and stuff like that. But then I was like, oh yeah, theater's fun, great, cool. Started doing it in high school, but then I was like, all right, I'm gonna do more music stuff. I went to Nashville for college over at Belmont University, but I was doing audio engineering technology, so I was purely more on the actual recording side of things, live sound. I would still be fill in for sessions where I play on instruments and stuff like that for people. But I really kind of was not really doing anything, like, yet again, there weren't enough guys in the program for the theater program, so I would be, like, filling in for, like, staged readings and one acts and stuff like that. But I wasn't, like, it wasn't a thing that I was pursuing with education at all. I started then working at a improv comedy club, Third Coast Comedy Club. We're giving that shout out from 6.5 hours away.
All right.
It's the only brick and mortar improv comedy club in Nashville. Get your tickets.
That's cool.
Come on, plug.
Yeah, come on, plug. I mean, I worked there. I started out right when it opened. I was their first tech intern. I then became their technical director, where I was kind of running all those shows from the back. I've been their music director for most of their shows, kind of the 5 years or so that they've been open now.
Oh, wow.
So it's a lot of coming up with, primarily on piano with that, but it's been like accompanying for improv. I've performed with them as well.
That's cool.
So that kind of got me back into the theater world again, but then
give you the bite.
Yeah, but also I was working 6 nights a week on weekends, so I was like, you can't really do much theater while your schedule is 6 to like 2 sometimes. Like, no, I can't really do that. But then the pandemic kind of helped me out there a little bit, because I quit right before. I was like, I'm gonna pursue more arts, and I don't know what that means yet. And then that was January of 2020. So. But then coming back, I then was starting to just look at shows, and I booked a gig doing an actor-musician show where it's like you are acting, but then also playing at the same exact time. Okay. All the score. And it was with a Pigpen Theater Company, which is a lovely 7 guys. They've been doing a lot of great work. They're currently doing a Water for Elephants musical. Okay. That is like they've written the music for, but they do this like very folky stuff. Most of their material is they write everything. They're doing like shadow puppetry, object puppetry, like cool. While accompanying themselves with like banjos, accordion, violin, guitar. Like
that's really cool. That sounds very fascinating.
They're truly amazing. I've loved working with them, but that really kind of sparked me again. It's how I got to Mansfield in the first place. I did a production of Once at the Renaissance basically last year.
It was beautiful.
And it's an amazing show. But ever since then, I've been starting to just do more acting gigs, and here we are.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's been definitely not topping Leah's story.
No, you're very talented. You're very
Stop
cool.
it, thank you. It's just for me, it's been fun getting back into more and more theater again, and especially with a lot of the work that I have been doing, it is with that musician side coming in as well. So like it's been a little while for me to, especially in this show, like not be holding an instrument the whole time, and just be like, all right, I'm actually doing the theater, like true theater thing again. Like it's great.
I need to be moving my hands and
or not moving them. That's my main issue. Is my hands just go flying.
He's like a noodle boy out there.
One of those inflatable,
wacky inflatable arm flailing tube men.
Yes.
I think is that the Family Guy skit, if you will?
I always say the name wrong, and I say like roughly 10 words, but all of them are not the correct one. I'm like, the wacky tube man that goes, it's like, that's not right.
That's not it. That's not it. I think that's the closest I've ever gotten to it, and that's still probably not right.
That felt good, though.
Yeah, well, thank you.
I think if you added like a trademark at the end of that, I would have believed you 100%.
Almost sold it. So what's your guys' like favorite aspects of being in theater? Like, personally, I mean, you guys have such differing backgrounds as to the way you came up and got into it. What is the love that for it that really drives you with it? You know?
Yeah, I think for me is probably getting to meet and work with new people and old people, and just getting. I'm very much a seeker of knowledge. I know it sounds really corny, but like it's really true. Like my Greek ancestors would be so proud. And I just love getting to, like, why do people tick the way they do? And I feel like theater is like the best place you can really get to know people and make, long-lasting friendships. And you just get to like be their cheerleaders when like they do cool things. And getting to work with Michael and Nick and Linda and everybody at the Renaissance is such a joy. And there's this sense of, again, I'm very grateful. Like Michael knows my work, and he knows what I can do, and he knows how he can push me to be the best that I can be. So for me, it's always exciting, and like it's a new challenge. So for me, it's just, it's a little scary with the unknown, but it's very rewarding, and I get to have like a family, you know, like I'm very grateful for my cast members, especially in this show.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah. I think what's really great, too, about theater is that at its core, it's just storytelling.
Yeah.
And, like, throughout all of our lives and the lives before us and all the previous lives we've ever lived, we've just been telling stories, whether that's through written text, through just like oral history, through like everything, like through music, even like the attending the tale and whatnot. But that's all theater is. It's just telling a story. And what's great about it is that like some stories are very funny, some stories are very sad, and some stories are a mix of both, and like all of those are fine. But working with a group of people to try to figure out how to best tell a good story, there's that collaboration that you were kind of mentioning is amazing, but also having that focus to all be working towards this. Like
you know, you all know why you are in this one theater. Like we all have a purpose. We're all driven. You know, like I feel like a lot of like big companies today are like, we want to make sure that everybody knows, you know, what they're doing is important. And I feel like with the theater, you know. Or we hope you know, but you know.
By the time the lighting and the costumes go on,
by Tech Week, we're a solidified unit, kind of like you said, like everything gels. And again, I really have to give this cast props because I feel it, and it's not often that happens. So it's very gratifying.
It's a really, really special unspoken thing when you can get a group of people together to all push a common goal, you know, and they all feel that kinship with that goal and that vision, and you can cohesively, I think maybe is the word of the day, drive that vision to its destination. To entertain people even is, I mean, I'm sure that's an incredible feeling. Absolutely.
And, I mean, in a lot of mediums, I mean, bands, especially with open mic podcasts, it's like a lot of times with bands, we can say that we're just playing music for the love of music, but also like sometimes if you're writing lyrics, you're saying something. So the band is, in theory, they have a message that they're trying to say, whether it's the cheesiest love song, where it's the most anti-government thing, like whatever you want to say, you're achieving that common goal. And theater is the same thing. It's just that someone most likely already wrote that goal for you, and you're just you're like, I love the message, let's push this message.
And partnering with that that's good. That's real good. I love it. So where can people find tickets for this wonderful sounding show that I've heard so much about so far?
Isn't it great? You can go to renttickets.org, and we open
March 4th, which is Saturday. At, I believe it's an 8 o'clock show.
It's an 8 show,
8 p.m. And then on the 5th, it's 2:30. And then again that next weekend on the 11th
and 12th.
Same sort of times. But all that information is on renttickets.org.
Renttickets.org. Okay. I would say, too, you know, everybody's been asking me, like, is this for kids? Is this a family? And I would say maybe like 13 plus.
Yeah, there is a little bit of profanity.
A little PG-13.
I would say PG-13 is a really solid label to put this on. I would say this is a fun date night, girls' night. Adult family, you know, get out of the house and do something fun. Energy.
Okay.
If you love the Renaissance, this show is for you. If you love musicals, this show is for you. If you don't like either of those things, but you like comedy, this show is for you.
Oh,
and if you don't like any of that stuff but like good music, this show's also for you. But if you hate all of that stuff, most importantly, if you hate all of it, there is a bar at the theater, so you can. I will say this show is probably 10 times better, and it's already great. It's probably got to be better with a little bit.
Agreed.
With your little sauce.
So there is everything for you here.
Great popcorn, great drinks.
Man,
what more could you want?
It hits all of the check marks on your list, you know? Every aspect of it. You can't miss it.
You can't miss it.
Really can't miss this show, guys.
It's going to be a great show.
Yeah, we really can't miss it. It's an issue if you don't show up, but we would love you to also be there as well.
Please show up let all their hard work be not for naught, be for naught. However, that's
how Shakespearean of you.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm learning.
Yeah. Picking up the craft.
Hey, you know, I can mold myself to things, you know.
So you are an actor. We figured it out.
It's been in there the whole time.
Yeah, you just need to access it, find that chord.
I need my muse. But hell, anything else you guys want to add?
No, just come see the show.
Yeah,
We're having a really great time, and we'd love to share it with you. So.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. And to you listeners out there, if you like this, hearing about musicals, and because this is the first time I've done something like this, I would like to do more of it. So let me know if you guys are interested in this, not just music, but music in the form of play as well. As a fun topic to explore. I've enjoyed this so much, so let us know if you like this. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening to another episode of the Open Mic Podcast with me, your host Tom Hirst, brought to you by Richland Source Newsroom After Hours, sponsored by Two Cousins Pizza, Potent Studios, and Henry Screen Printing. If you need some pizza, go downtown. If you need some shirts, hit up Jake Henry. If you need some lighting for your show and or film, hit up Lee McIntosh at Potent Studios. And as always, Mansfield, Ohio is the greatest city in the continental U.S., and I hope that we are continuing to show you why that is true. Thank you guys so very much, and have a wonderful day. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.